champions, the current holders of the crown. The challengers, the team intent on taking that title away. The Pistons and the Bulls. Deadlocked at 3, both focused on winning. Both determined to take that final step. To repeat as champion, to become a champion, you must be relentless in your pursuit, unyielding in your desire, single-minded in your goal. For the champion will ultimately pay any price for success. In Game 7, you can hold nothing back or save anything until later. For after today, there may not be a tomorrow. The Palace at Auburn Hills, Michigan, located 35 miles north of downtown Detroit. This is the 100th game played here in the last 2 years, and the 100th sellout. Moments ago, Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, the challengers, hoping to win here for the first time in their last 8 trips. They were preceded on the court for the warm-ups by the defending world champions. The Detroit Pistons extended to a 7th game, a surprise to some, but not to Detroit and Chuck Daly. And 21,500 are gathered here for a very special afternoon. Hello, everybody. I'm Vern Lundquist, and welcome to a continuation of the NBA playoffs on CBS. Any Game 7 in the NBA is adorned with a special magnetism that reaches out and demands your attention. But this one is blessed with a special spice. Despite the fact that they're the defending world champions, this is the first time the Pistons have ever been at home at a Game 7. For Chicago, they haven't played a Game 7 in 15 years. And if they win today, they'll be in the NBA Finals for the first time in the history of the franchise. My partner is Lenny Elmore. Lenny, obviously the winner gets Portland in the NBA Finals. What else is it that flavors this 7th game so much?
Well, certainly, Vern, there's not much else that a coach can tell a team in the locker room. The only thing is, it's back to fundamentals. These players must recognize that it's the things that got them to this point that's going to get them over the hurdle. And I'm talking about stingy defense, offensive rebounding, hustling. These are the things that are important. Also, I agree with what Phil Jackson told us yesterday. The official will not play that prominent a role in this game. The determining factors will be the field goal shooting, not the free throw line.
Injuries always a part of the NBA playoffs. When we left you on Friday night, there were 3 players so affected. John Paxson will not start today. Bad right ankle. Craig Hodges will. Michael Jordan says his wrist is okay, though he did not shoot yesterday. Dennis Rodman has played for Detroit the last 2 games with a bad ankle. It's not any better, but it is Game 7. He'll go as long as he can. For more on Michael Jordan and the Bulls, let's check in now with Leslie Visser.
Vern, I just spoke with Michael Jordan. He said his wrist is fine. He said nothing bothers you during a Game 7. Head coach Phil Jackson, who, by the way, would become the first rookie head coach to advance to the NBA Finals in 20 years, said this team has experienced a kind of bonding, that they're ready for this challenge. For Michael Jordan, it's almost apocalyptic. After all, the only thing this guy can't buy is a trip to the NBA Finals. He said simply, we've got to take advantage of this. The chance may never come again. For the Piston point of view, let's go to Pat O'Brien.
And Leslie, you're right. It's interesting. I spoke with Isaiah Thomas early this morning about Michael, and he said in almost every category, Michael Jordan is hungrier than Isaiah and the Pistons because he's never had a ring and never had a 7th game. But he said because Detroit's been in 2 7th games, even though they lost them, they're a lot smarter and wiser about these things. The other story in the locker room, I thought it was interesting. The assistant coaches were watching Portland Trailblazer tapes this morning. They said that's how confident they are going into this game. But in my opinion, the biggest story was, you know, all year they've tried to get rid of this bad boy image here in Detroit. Well, guess what, folks? They're bringing it back for Game 7. They said today, the spirit of the bad boys will be with the Detroit Pistons. It says, bad boys, you can't touch this. Well, guess what, folks? You can't beat this. This is a 7th game. Air Jordan has landed in Detroit, Michigan. But guess what? The bad boys are back in town. Strap yourselves in.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Basketball Association Eastern Conference Finals is sponsored by Chrysler Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers, where you get the advantage. The companies of the Prudential. Come to the Prudential and build your future on the rock. And by Miller Lite, bringing you the exciting conclusion of the Tour de Light.
Now let's meet the starting lineup for the Chicago Bulls in this series tied 3 games apiece. Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant in the front court. Michael Jordan is joined by Craig Hodges, who starts for John Paxson, Bill Cartwright at center, and the first-year head coach Phil Jackson of the Chicago Bulls. And for the defending world champions, the Detroit Pistons, Dennis Rodman and James Edwards, Joe Dumars, Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer is the center, and the head coach in his 7th season, Chuck Daly. How nervous is he? Well, here, what Chuck Daly does to relax is about an hour before game time, he hosts his own local television show on our CBS affiliate here. That, of course, is Thomas Hearns on the left. And it might help Chuck just to get his mind off what's going to happen about 50 minutes later. The officials today, a good crew. Earl Strom, Jake O'Donnell, Joe Crawford. Game 7 from the Palace. Piston ball. Isaiah Thomas, who took special shooting coaching yesterday from Brendan Malone. He had a 5 for 17 night in Chicago on Friday night. And Craig Hodges will open up defensively on him. They go to James Edwards early. Too strong. Jordan with the rebound. And Jordan will, here's the pass inside to Cartwright. Isaiah. It's a 3-on-4. See Thomas finds Edwards. Short. Nice job of blocking the shot by Horace Grant. Joe Dumars, Scottie Pippen guards him. Now Jordan's back for Bill Laimbeer.
Well, certainly it's Laimbeer and James Edwards that the Pistons want to get off to a good start. It's their inside play that's going to make it a lot easier for the 3 guards of Detroit, and Vinnie Johnson, Joe Dumars, and Isaiah Thomas.
Now they keep Hodges down on the right side. Pippen takes it over left and gets it into Bill Cartwright. Backs in on James Edwards, throws an elbow, and the foul will be called on James Edwards. His first, team first.
And of course, recognizing that the strength of the Pistons game relies on the inside game. The Bulls come down and they try to attack it as much as they can, occupy Edwards and Laimbeer.
Bill Jackson said yesterday, conversation with us, that the Bulls might be able to win today with 95 points, but they won't win with 85.
And they certainly won't win without some inside help. Bill Cartwright with a nice job on the baseline. He's got to get off to a good start.
That ties it up at 2-2. Isaiah Thomas comes out to get the pass from Dumars. Craig Hodges guards him. Thomas knifes in, too strong. Tip is good. Dennis Rodman gets 2, and it's a 4-2 Detroit lead. Now Jordan will probe the left side. Back it comes to Scottie Pippen. Hodges with 4 for 4 from 3-point range, breaking out of a big slump on Friday night in the win. He is a streak shooter. Takes it right at Laimbeer. Offensive foul.
We're recognizing, Vern, what happened in Game 6. Isaiah Thomas does a nice job of running at Craig Hodges. He's a streak shooter, but he likes to stand still on his jump shot. Can't put it on the floor very well, particularly going to his left, and we saw what happened.
We played 2 minutes. It's a 4-2 Detroit lead. Foul on Bill Cartwright.
We take a look at this replay. James Edwards told me yesterday he was very concerned about the Bulls fronting him, but Cartwright decides to play behind him. James said he wasn't going to fight them in the post, but he used his body very well that time. Billy Cartwright cannot play James Edwards from behind. He's going to have to get a lot of help if he's going to play behind him.
Now Dumars. Isaiah Thomas. And he misses that. Saw him yesterday for a half an hour after practice ended, taking coaching from Brendan Malone.
Well, certainly in Game 6, you could see that he was having trouble getting set. He never got into his rhythm. And more importantly, he was very afraid of what was going on behind him and took his focus off the shooting.
So the problem was with his follow-through and pointing his finger at the basket. Here's Cartwright to Jordan off the pick. Jumper. No. Cartwright. Back to Pippen in the corner. Cartwright was open. Edwards comes over to get on it. Now Craig Hodges. Horace Grant. Too strong.
Well, of course, both teams are tight. You can see it in the shooting, missing badly. But somewhere down the line, the emotion has to run off. And again, back to fundamental basketball.
Dumars with an air ball. It's still 4-2, and we played 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Did you expect to see this kind of tightness?
Well, certainly Game 7 always brings that out. But it has to wear off.
Here's Dumars in transition. No. Scottie Pippen brings it up the other direction.
Well, we talked about the dirty work, and it's the defense.
Hodges no good. Long rebound, Isaiah Thomas. Now the pace of the game picked up considerably. Dumars.
Well, we talk about a breakthrough in transition. With Joe Dumars, the broken floor allows him to find lanes to the basket. And that's what Detroit needs to kind of raise the emotion level.
22nd timeout has been called by Chicago. Phil Jackson gathers his troops around, gives us a chance, Lamb, to talk about what difference Craig Hodges' presence in the game means in the absence of John Paxson.
Well, certainly they're going to have to, and I'm talking about the Bulls, they're going to have to find ways to get Michael Jordan open. The loss of Jim Paxson brings Michael Jordan to the point, the top of the floor. Then there's no weak side help for Pistons, so they can't double team him unless they go out to the middle of the floor. Then Jordan should be able to find some of his teammates. So it makes a world of difference offensively for him, Michael Jordan, because it opens up the floor.
There's Craig Hodges, 7 of 9 from the field. 19 points. He was 4 of 4 on three-point field goals, and before the game he had been 2 of 12 three-point effort. Ed Neely has come in now. He played only 1 minute in Game 6, so Ed Neely makes an appearance in the ball game. And he replaces Scottie Pippen. What does that mean?
Well, the insertion of Ed Neely kind of emphasizes the kind of play that's going on inside, particularly bounding aspect. Neely clears the place out. He's also a smart passer. He's a good conduit for your offense to get the ball to other people. Scottie Pippen will get a rest because he's going to be needed somewhere down here for offense.
Michael Jordan cuts the margin to 3, 7-4, nearing the 8-minute mark of quarter number 1. Back it comes to Lambier. 3, no. Hodges. Neely had gotten loose down at the other end, but the Bulls will slow it up. Michael Jordan. And it's a 7-6 ball game.
Well, the Pistons are getting the shots that they want. They're moving the ball. A nice job on Lambier the last trip down, but they're going to have to find a way again to get to the basket. That's their game.
Dumars drives by Jordan, puts up the underhand shot, and it goes right in the hands of James Edwards out to Craig Hodges. Lambier and Thomas hurry back. Hodges spots up for 3. No. Jackson said, I don't have any doubt that he can come back and have another hot streak today. So far it hasn't been there. Now Edwards.
And that's exactly what I was talking about. Bill Cartwright cannot guard James Edwards from behind. Edwards has too quick a lateral movement and nice moves inside. Cartwright's going to have to get help.
Under 7 minutes, Jordan for 3. Well, they've taken the perimeter shots for the most part. Bulls trail by 9-6. Isaiah Thomas trying to get off the mark. He was 5 of 21 in the first 2 games played here. Had his best games on the road in Chicago until the other night. Here's Edwards again. And Grant, who had 14 rebounds in the win by the Bulls. On Friday night, grabs that one.
Well, Horace Grant has certainly been a factor on the boards, but more importantly, when he was matched up against Bill Lambier, they liked that matchup. Here he's got Dennis Rodman on him.
Cartwright, jump hook. Tipped out to Isaiah Thomas. 2-on-2 as Hodges gets back. Thomas and Jordan. Offensive foul. Bill Strom calls Isaiah Thomas with the foul. Time has been called. Detroit up by 3. 9-6, Detroit on top. 6:12 remaining first period of play. Isaiah Thomas called with that last foul, Lenny.
Well, at the top of the telecast, we spoke of players knowing that they have to do the dirty work, tight defense, and no one is exempt. Michael Jordan, of all people, great defense inside. Good position. He was set, an excellent call. Isaiah Thomas struggling. He wants to get to the basket because his jump shot's not working, but Michael Jordan beats him to the spot.
Michael Jordan injured the outside of his right wrist near the on the little finger side when he put his wrist on Isaiah Thomas's heel, falling down late in the game. He did not practice yesterday, but no swelling, and he's just fine. Now Hodges at the point this time. Jordan works the baseline. Hodges inside to Bill Cartwright, kicks it back out to Craig Hodges. There's Hodges' first 2 of the game.
And perfect pass outside in a standstill position. That's the way Craig Hodges likes to shoot.
9-8 Detroit. 5:45 to go, quarter number 1. Pistons are 16-1 in the playoffs in this building in the last 2 years. The one loss, Chicago beat them in game 1 a year ago. Dumars has it roll off the rim. Now Chicago can take the lead. Horace Grant. Dennis Rodman picks up the foul. His first. Ed Neely will inbound.
The Pistons are giving a very easy post position inside.
Rebound by Grant. That's another one. Hodges for 3. Yes. So he has hit his last 2 baskets now.
Second chance opportunities off the boards that time, giving the Bulls an opportunity to go back to their basic game, which is to penetrate and get the ball out to their standstill jumpers if nothing's there.
Chicago was 70% of its 3-pointers the other night. They're on a 9-2 run right now and have the lead. The triple team on Edwards brings the dish to Dumars and the foul on Ed Neely.
Well, certainly the Bulls were aware that Bill Cartwright needs plenty of help. But on the other side of it, a great job by James Edwards to take the double and triple team, not to panic and find the open man. As we see here, with a nice pass inside, he turned and faced the baskets many times. Big guys inside who is double and triple, they stay with their back to the basket. They never see the cutters.
In the series, Bill Dumars, the leading Piston scorer, 22 points per game. And of course, I think most of them remember the exemplary performance he had last year in the finals with a 27-point average and the MVP trophy. We're tied at 11, 4:40 remaining. First quarter. Portland Trail Blazers watching out west to see who their opponent will be in the NBA Finals. Pick and roll, Ed Neely tapped away by Dennis Rodman. Played the passing lane perfectly and draws the foul from Craig Hodges. What a nice play by the MVP Defensive Player of the Year.
Well, you certainly can't say enough about Dennis Rodman. The strengths that he has are his anticipation abilities. Right there, he was still aware of where the ball was and got into the passing lane. Never took his eye off the ball and still maintained contact with his man.
Rodman playing with that injured left ankle, injured in game 4. The game in which he had 20 points and 20 rebounds. Here's Dumars, nice pump fake, has to adjust the ball and gets it to James Edwards, and the shot is not there. Now it's a little volleyball and Edwards gets it. Pistons back on top by 2, 3:56 to go. Jordan. Dumars. Bill Laimbeer with a grimace.
Vast difference between this play and the play before. Dumars takes away the lane from Jordan. And what happens on the ensuing pass, as Dumars stays with Michael Jordan, is that Bill Laimbeer never beat his man to the ball.
Now Phil Jackson's going to change the nature of his lineup. Brings Pippen back in. Craig Hodges goes out, so Ed Neely stays in, and Jordan will go to the point guard full time. Here's Cartwright. Nope. Laimbeer rebound. Finds Dumars. It's 3-on-2. Neely hustles back. Rodman loses the ball. That is the second Detroit turnover.
Michael Jordan again figures prominently in the defense back against the break.
Give and go, and the ball is kept, and the shot is made by Horace Grant.
Well, with this lineup the Bulls have offensively, they have a big backcourt, and they're able to see over the smaller guards and able to dump the ball down inside, particularly with the matchup of Grant and Lambier.
Dumars. Pippen on him. Nice move. Shot short. Detroit not hitting all that well. They are 5 of 17 from the field now. They were 6 of 24 in that pivotal quarter number 3 on Friday night. Jordan underneath. No, but he'll shoot. Second foul called on James Edwards. That's going to send Michael Jordan to the line. But first, a timeout has been called.
Back at the Palace where the score is tied just now in the huddle, Chuck Daly told his team very simply, pass the ball, pass the ball, pass the ball. He also wants Vinnie Johnson to stay up on Michael Jordan, try to keep him on the perimeter. Let's go to Pat O'Brien.
All right, Les, over here at the Chicago Bulls bench. Before the game, I was talking to Jordan and some of the guys, and what they didn't want to have happen today was Detroit to begin the game with a 14-2, 14-4 run. They're very happy over here right now, as you might imagine. Let's go back to Vern.
I'll bet they are, Pat, because they've had the only run in the ball game, 9-2. Now, Microwave has come into the lineup. Jordan has been held to only 4 points. He was at 9 points at halftime of game 6, but he exploded for 18 points in that third quarter blister.
But what's important about that is that Michael Jordan is still utilizing his teammates very well. He's allowing the offensive diversity of the Bulls to make itself available for him. So when you get to the fourth quarter in a tight situation, he's going to be the focus of the Piston defense. He'll have confidence in dumping it off to his teammates who are now in the game offensively.
This is the 68th time that Michael Jordan has been to the free throw line in this series. Well, the winner of this game takes on the Portland Trail Blazers. Game 1 of the NBA Finals Tuesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern. We can't tell you yet where that game will be played. If Detroit wins, it will be here. If Chicago wins, it will be in Portland. Here's Vinnie Johnson. Rodman had Lambier open under the basket. Didn't see it. 5 of 18 shooting the ball now for the Detroit Pistons. Neither team has shot that well throughout this series. It's been a defensively oriented series. And here's Neely on the terrific pass.
And that's what I'm talking about. Michael Jordan, as the focus of the Pistons defense, now feels comfortable giving the ball up to his teammates because they've shown a willingness to take it to the basket.
That'll be Detroit ball. Keep in mind that substitution that Phil Jackson made a while ago. He pulled Hodges out, Pippen back in, so a much taller lineup, and Ed Neely stayed in the lineup. So it's King, Pippen, Grant, Jordan, and Neely right now. That's for 3. Isaiah Thomas is 0 for 3. Vinnie Johnson with a rebound. He was 0 for 10 in game 6. Johnson was. Trap on the baseline. Back it comes to Lambier. No basket, but Isaiah Thomas will shoot free throws.
Well, you take a look at the Bull lineup, Vernon, you recognize that the 3 frontline players, Stacey King, Horace Grant, and Ed Neely, are bangers, they're rebounders, but they're not as quick as the players for the Pistons at this time. And many times people believe that it's always size that gives you an advantage rebounding, but more so it's quickness, whoever gets to the ball first. And this time the Pistons have gotten a couple second chance opportunities that have put some people on the line. That's where they've had an advantage throughout this series.
B.J. Armstrong is going to give Michael Jordan a rest. That's coming before the quarter break. So Jordan sits down with the Bulls up by 2 and 1:56 to go first quarter. See how long he stays down and what happens to the score while he's getting his rest. Pippen. Stacey King is for Chicago. Nice move by King. Too strong with the shot. Lambier rebound. Detroit off to a very slow start from the field. 5 of 19. Here's Lambier. 5 of 20. They're hitting 20% now.
When they're not getting the shots that they want, the Pistons in a half-court set love to go inside, but the Bulls have sealed that off.
12 of those 20 shots from the perimeter. B.J. Armstrong, first-year man out of Iowa. Stacey King has not had a memorable series against Detroit. Armstrong, no, the tip too strong. Neely hustles for the rebound. Ed Neely, who refers to himself as the ultimate role player. Now Mark Aguirre is going to come on for the Pistons. Aguirre had an inconsequential game in Game 6, but in Game 5 he was terrific in the fourth quarter. Here's Neely.
Well, what gives Neely his moniker and makes it fit is the fact that he's willing to lay his body on the line when you get underneath the basket. He takes a lot of punishment in there and dishes some out himself, but he's always going after the ball in relentless fashion, and that's one thing that the Bulls need because they have a lot of finesse players out there.
Chicago up by 4, final minute, quarter number 1. Has this been more Chicago defense or Piston ineptitude?
Well, the Pistons can't really utilize what's been given them, and that's the perimeter shot. The Bulls are sagging back, taking away the post-ups.
5 for 21 for Detroit. Not all that great for Chicago. They're now 7 of 19 themselves. Final 30 seconds of the first quarter. Both coaches were in agreement. Defensive intensity would tell the story of this game. Thomas. .14 on the shot clock. Just the slightest fraction of difference in the game clock and the shot clock. Armstrong. Spin move by Thomas. Doesn't get the roll. Well, it's a Piston pace, but Phil Jackson's still able to smile. His team has survived one, and they have the lead. That's the end of the first period. With our score, Chicago 19. The Detroit Pistons 17.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Basketball Association Eastern Conference Finals is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Armor All, because only Armor All works like Armor All. And by McDonald's, you know the one. It's McDonald's for food, folks, and fun.
Well, we expected a low-scoring, defensively oriented game. We have gotten just that. Chicago has a lead after the end of one, 19-17. Let's check in with Leslie Visser.
Vern, from the Piston bench, William Bedford will be making an early appearance. Chuck Daly wants Isaiah Thomas to get the ball to both Vinnie Johnson and Mark Aguirre, get them going early. Vern?
All right, Leslie, William Bedford seldom used throughout the season and the playoffs. He did come in last weekend in Chicago, played a couple of minutes in Game 6, but has not played in 8 of the last 10 playoff games. He's in there now. So the Pistons have Vinnie Johnson, John Sally also in, Isaiah Thomas and Mark Aguirre. They have, on a normal day, much deeper bench. Here's Jordan's shot that will not fall, and Detroit with a chance to tie. Isaiah Thomas brings it up. B.J. Armstrong guards him. Michael Jordan will draw Vinnie Johnson. Ball kick, fresh 24.
Certainly William Bedford's presence for the Pistons defensively. He's a big body. He has the ability to block some shots. And on the offensive end, he can go to the basket, to the backboard pretty well, and particularly when he posts up and the ball goes away from him.
Now, when he came in last weekend, it surprised a lot of folks, and Daly said, hey, I didn't like what I was getting out of my center position. There's the tying basket. And Mark Aguirre gets his first 2 of the ball game. Surprised to see him this early in Game 7?
Well, he is a big body, as I say. He will give Lambert and Edwards a rest, and that's primarily what he's in for, to spell them. Hopefully his team will stay within striking distance or maybe bump up the lead a little bit.
Horace Grant had that go-ahead basket. Now Johnson, Isaiah Thomas. Thomas 1 of 4. They get to a 5.
Well, you got the master and you got the rookie. And Isaiah Thomas is backing B.J. Armstrong down. Armstrong giving up a lot of room. That's helping Isaiah's shooting confidence.
Isaiah Thomas has 6 rebounds now. 21 all. Pippen. Mark Aguirre is called away from the ball. That's his first. Armstrong, Grant, Pippen, Michael Jordan, who rested the final 156 of the first quarter.
Michael Jordan.
He's got 8 points now.
Well, the Bulls are doing a nice job. Vinnie Johnson was told to stick with Michael Jordan, and they're bumping him off nicely with picks.
That's the first on B.J. Armstrong. And vocal instructions coming from the bench in the form of Phil Jackson. Armstrong gets back with him. They look inside. Bedford was posting up. Thomas feels like he's got it going now, but he misses that shot, and Pippen clears the rebound. Rebounds now 15-17. Chicago has the edge.
Well, that was a lost opportunity, but what's happening is with Bedford in there, he's not an offensive threat.
Time has been called. Chicago holds on to the lead by 2.
But we talked about Isaiah Thomas establishing his confidence on offense. The outside shots hadn't been falling too much, but here he backs down B.J. Thomas to get in a position where he has nice range. These are the things that kick up his shooting confidence. And here we see them practicing yesterday. Brendan Malone, the assistant coach there, working with Isaiah Thomas.
Said he was having his problems with his follow-through. Isaiah Thomas talking now with Jake O'Donnell.
And if I said B.J. Thomas, it's B.J. Armstrong. B.J. Thomas is an oldie but goodie.
Raindrops will keep falling on your head. The title of the song that he made famous a few years back.
You and I remember.
Do we ever? Mark Aguirre works hard for the shot. Gets it.
Absolutely, he worked hard, falling away. Didn't really get a good eye at the basket. The Bulls' defense is active.
9:20 to go, first half. Michael Jordan pump fake. Johnson flying, rejected by John Sally. Battle for the loose ball. They're still fighting, and Chicago will get it after Sally touched it.
We talked about hard work, and Aguirre really can't get into the basket the way he wants. Consequently, he has to bump and fade away. He can make some of those shots, but the Bulls can live with that. They have to be happy with their defense.
Michael Jordan looks inside for Stacey King. Over to B.J. Armstrong. Grant with yet one more rebound and a foul on William Bedford. And they are quickly separated.
Well, we talked about Bedford earlier. His presence provides a big body in there, but really on offense he was a liability. Guys were able to leave him and double team the guards. And defensively here, he wasn't quick enough to keep Horace Grant off the boards. So consequently, you've got a Dennis Rodman coming back in. William Bedford's job is done.
Edwards and Lambert stay on the bench. Rodman back in. Horace Grant will shoot free throws. Two-point edge for Chicago. Their goal, I guess, Len, was just to be within range at the end of 3 quarters, right?
Certainly. They want to show some resilience, take all the Piston runs, have a few of their own, but then hang around until the 4th quarter. Then it's Jordan time. And as we saw earlier with Pat O'Brien, the T-shirt said, you can't touch this. If Jordan has an opportunity, he's going to take that.
Michael Jordan gets it up to the left side. It's tipped into the hands of Vinnie Johnson. Jordan almost steals it, and then it's thrown away. Rodman went down for it. And Aguirre did as well, and that has Chuck Daly up and pacing.
Well, certainly every possession is going to be important in this game. Isaiah Thomas tried to make the hard pass. Instead of backing up, they still had the advantage. They're going to have to get a little smarter in situations like that. Or a little less
isolation
anxious.
play now for Jordan. Turnaround jumper off the glass. No. Jordan is 3 out of 9. Here's a Grant steal. Vinnie Johnson took an elbow, and Jordan gets the rebound.
Johnson double teamed. His team leaves him alone, hangs him out to dry. Here we see the double team with Horace Grant leaving his man. John Sally runs out of the picture. Michael Jordan, with his anticipation of Johnson turning his back, gets it to Grant, and Vinny holds his eye. And yes, he was struck. He was hit strictly in the eye.
Okay. As you told me a couple of weeks ago, you were a man of letters.
Yeah, but you get excited in these games.
I know.
You want to get the correct tense. That's a replay. But you know what I meant.
I do. And neither one of us is tense, so we're just fine. 7:40 to go, first half. 28-27, Pistons on top after Sally's three-point play. Set the lineups now. This is Isaiah Thomas guarding B.J. Armstrong. Craig Hodges back in the lineup. Jordan will go to small forward. Cartwright. No call. Blocked by Isaiah Thomas. Here's Dumars. $21,454 paid attendance today. Probably a few more who were able to sneak in. 30-27 Detroit. And Joe Dumars tapped off this fine play with the basket at the other end, Len.
Well, certainly the crowd is getting into this game and raising the emotion and the intensity level. Michael Jordan really didn't have any place to go with it. As he's been surrounded, his teammates are going to have to make themselves more available.
Field goal percentage now as the Pistons have hit 6 of 7 in this quarter to increase their average to 41. Chicago still a rather anemic 32%. That was a big block by Isaiah Thomas, and Joe Dumars got the basket at the other end. Interesting how some speculate that this is becoming more and more a team led by Joe Dumars rather than Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah now 29 years old and in his 9th year. Michael Jordan, no question about who leads that team. That pass almost thrown away. And Mark Aguirre, Aguirre did not touch it. O'Donnell and Strum, and the call is overruled by Earl Strum. Seniority has its rights.
And certainly Earl may have been in the better position. But he's not afraid to make his presence known.
Jake O'Donnell had initially said Chicago ball. Strum said no, Aguirre touched it. Earl Strum, who will retire at the conclusion of this season. Under 7 minutes to go, first half. Long shot by Armstrong. Isaiah Thomas. John Sally. Trap on Jordan. Foul on Isaiah Thomas.
Well, certainly this was Phil Jackson's greatest fear, that the crowd would get into the game, that the Pistons would take off on a spurt that would push them away from the Bulls. And it has all the makings of one of those Pistons runs where they are playing excellent, turning the Bulls over and getting the shots that are going to raise this crowd, the dunks and the high acrobatic types of things.
6.5 to go before halftime. Pippen, Jordan, Hodges, Grant, and Cartwright on the floor now for Chicago. There's the pick from Cartwright, but a good switch by Aguirre. Back it goes to Pippen for 3. No. Well, they hit 7 of 10 the other night. They've got only 1 today from three-point range. At the other end, Isaiah Thomas.
On the Bulls offense, certainly no one on the backboards. The dirty work is not being done.
Cartwright blocked by Sally. A 9-0 run by Detroit. 11. Timeout, Chicago.
It is a Sunday afternoon in Auburn Hills, but it's anything but quiet as the Pistons lead the Bulls 36-27 after that big run. Hi, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien. Coming up on the Prudential at the half, we'll bring you up to date as we always try to do on the latest sports news. We'll talk live and in person with the coach waiting for a series to begin, Rick Adelman, the Trailblazers skipper. And when you think about corporations, do you think of IBM, AT&T? Not this time of year. We'll have the story of Jordan Incorporated, Jordan Inc. All that and, as usual, much more at a familiar place. Prudential at the half. Back to a couple of familiar guys. Vernon Lynn.
All right, Pat, just moments ago before the break, the end of an 11-0 run by the Detroit Pistons, Mark Aguirre. But while that was going on, Joe Dumars has a groin pull, and Mike Abdenauer stretching him out, trying to get him fit to get back in the game, and Dumars is back on the court. That took place during the timeout. Well, these two teams are going in opposite directions in this second quarter. The Pistons 9 of 12 now. Chicago 3 of 11. And the last 11 points have been scored by the defending world champions.
Well, Phil Jackson found it difficult to get anything done with his young people, B.J. Armstrong and Stacey King. He's got his starting lineup back out here to try to develop some team cohesiveness, try to execute a lot better.
Mentioned those Hodges, Jordan, Cartwright, Pippen, and Grant for Chicago. It's Rodman, Thomas, Aguirre, Sally, and Dumars for Detroit. 3 of 12 now. Here's Pippen adjusting his shot and getting it over Sally.
And that was a great offensive rebound and tip by Craig Hodges, who stuck his nose in there to get that shot for Scott Pippen.
Mark Aguirre from Isaiah Thomas. 9 years ago, the number 1 and 2 draft choices in the NBA. Aguirre, of course, taken by Dallas. There's Sally stripped to the ball. It'll be Detroit's ball. Phil Jackson trying to survive the first serious Detroit run of the game, 11-0.
And certainly he has the chance to really orchestrate his defense since it's in front of his bench.
Dumars tipped. Jordan has it. Dumars hurries from behind, and Jordan will slow it down. Isaiah Thomas guarding him now. Aguirre looking around for his man. It's Harris Grant underneath. Here's Pippen. Aguirre comes out. A lot of moves, and then passes it back to Cartwright. Matches, no. Isaiah Thomas with another rebound. He's got 7. Aguirre.
Pushing it up the floor like that keeps the Bulls retreating, and then patience to wait for the trailers like Mark Aguirre to come down the lane. They can walk to the basket.
Hodges, Chicago ball.
Very quick shot by Craig Hodges that time. I'm sure Phil Jackson would want some more floor balance. He would also want somebody available to get the ball off the boards on the offensive end if possible. Bill Cartwright stays on the perimeter an awful lot. Ed Neely's more the kind of guy to go inside.
Neely has it blocked by Sally. Blocked again by Sally. This time, count the basket. Well, in their loss here in Game 5, Chicago shot only 33%. They are shooting less than that right now. They are at 30%, 12 of 40. And Jackson said, we must shoot well. Thomas. 2 more.
Pretty close to 3 seconds, but you see where Isaiah Thomas is getting his shot now, where he has his confidence, and that's in the paint.
Isaiah Thomas with 10 points and 7 rebounds. Jordan. Pippen. Bulls are 1 of 6 from three-point range. 1 of 7. What's leading to this emphasis on perimeter shooting by Chicago?
Well, one of the problems is that Detroit is only giving up 1 shot. They're sagging back and allowing the quick shot to occur because they dare the Bulls to beat them from outside. They're only going to give them 1 shot. And that's what's happening. They get the 1 shot and they're off to the races, so to speak, on the other end in transition. The Bulls continue to back up and back up. And what's happening, the trailers are walking into the basket because there's no one up there to contest them.
Rodman at the free throw line. He has found the answer in this series. I think most of you know that Dennis not acclaimed for his free throw shooting prowess. And Chuck Daly was trying to hurry something in Now Rodman misses on the second, but he's really been hitting free throws quite well against Chicago. 10-point edge. Pistons on a good run now. 41-31. Hodges for three. It still won't go. They're 1 of 8. They were 7 of 10 at home on Friday night from three-point range.
Much better job of the Bulls in getting back in transition.
Aguirre. Loose ball, Aguirre again. Boy, when he gets in a groove, he is something to behold. He's got 10 points now. It is thought by most that Detroit has the stronger bench of the two. That was not the case on Friday night. It certainly is proving to be this afternoon. Bulls can't buy a basket. That includes Michael Jordan.
Well, certainly both coaches told us yesterday that they expect a different character to arise here. Someone who has to step up their game just a bit in order to take their team over the hump, and that person might be Mark Aguirre right now. He is for Detroit.
Aguirre, 5 of 6. Acquired last year from Dallas in the trade for Adrian Dantley, the much discussed trade. And another shot won't go. Aguirre with a rebound.
And you talk about the poor Chicago field goal shooting. Phil Jackson said that his team has poorer selection on the road. But he thought in the 7th game that they'd be over that. Obviously, they're not.
5 of 22 in this quarter. Isaiah Thomas adjusts the shot and draws the foul. Armstrong with his second foul. Well, John Sally's three-point play early in this quarter gave the Pistons the lead at 28-27. And they're on an 18-4 run right now. Isaiah Thomas with another opportunity.
A lot of that has to do with the Detroit defense in forcing the perimeter shot. The Bulls not able to connect are still taking the quick shot. And Pistons are coming off with the rebound and taking off, and the Bulls haven't got too many people back to defend.
Lead is 13.
They need some floor balance when they take the shot.
Been a disastrous quarter for the Chicago Bulls. A marvelous 10 minutes thus far for Detroit. Jordan, short. Rodman with the rebound.
And it's everyone on that Bulls team who's taking quick shots and not able to put it down.
Michael Jordan now 4 of 12 from the field. Aguirre is 5 of 6. Back to Dumars. That's the third foul on Isaiah Thomas. Benny Johnson is going to give Isaiah Thomas a rest. Thomas, who has not played that well at home, ironically enough, he averaged 31 points in the games in Chicago until the other night, only 8 in the previous 3 games played here. But he's got it together today. Jordan taken away by Rodman, playing the passing lane again. There's another steal. And that's 6 Chicago turnovers.
And certainly not a good pass by Michael Jordan. After going behind his back, he didn't even really look. He tried to look off the defender. But Rodman would not be denied there. He's not going for that kind of fake anymore.
Double team on Aguirre as Grant comes out. Sally with 1 second on the shot clock. Shot clock at 16. 21,500 on their feet to bring this game to a halftime. Daly's still coaching, obviously, or talking with Strong. Will Purdue goes to the free throw line. Winner of this game, of course, gets the Portland Trail Blazers, the NBA Finals on CBS. It begins Tuesday night. Portland. And there is Rick Edelman, the 43-year-old head coach of the Trail Blazers, whose team ousted Phoenix 4 games to 2. They were one of the teams that won on the road this year, but not many have. They defeated Phoenix in Phoenix to win that series 4 games to 2. Detroit up now 46-32 with 4.9 seconds to go. This has really been a marvelous effort by Detroit in this second quarter.
Well, certainly it's been an emotionally charged type of effort. They get a few turnovers and convert them. The crowd gets in the game, and it's thwarted any attempts that the Bulls may have tried to make on their offensive end. They've been taking quick shots. They haven't really covered the boards very well, haven't gotten good floor balance to try to offset the Detroit transition game. Now, what's going to happen here is they hope to get these 2 free throws, make the stop with the 4.9 seconds left, go into the locker room and regroup. They have to recognize now that they have to slow the pace down and maybe execute a little bit better offensively.
Will Purdue back at the line, gets the free throw. Now the final 5 seconds. Got it, Rodman. That punctuates a pretty good period. As Detroit outscores Chicago by 17 points in quarter number 2. That's the end of the half with our score. Detroit 48, Chicago 33. Pat O'Brien is along with Prudential at the half after this message.
CBS Sports presents The Prudential at the Half, sponsored by the companies of the Prudential. Come to the Prudential and build your future on the rock.
And wouldn't the Detroit area like to have another championship? They're on their way. It's only halftime, but they're up by 15 over the Chicago Bulls. And hi again, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien, and once again, welcome to another edition, a Game 7 edition of the Prudential at the Half. Let's go right to work, because in case you missed this last night, the biggest story in sports this weekend, the Mariners, behind the no-hit pitching of Randy Johnson, beat the Tigers 2-0. Now, I want to show you the final pitch of the game. 6'10", Randy Johnson, he could play basketball, tossed the first no-hitter in the history of the Mariners. He ended it by striking out Mike Heath, celebrating on the mound, and here's what he said afterwards.
I didn't talk to too many people on the bench, and I didn't even really try and think about it, you know. I just tried to take my mind off of it, off of the whole situation, and then when it happened, it happened. I'm just ecstatic right now. I'm probably blabbering right now. But,
Back to basketball, while Chicago and Detroit battle each other in this Game 7, tired, battered, and drained. Up in the Pacific Northwest, the Portland Trail Blazers are sitting back and waiting. They'll begin their war on Tuesday night. And joining us live now from Portland is the skipper of the Trail Blazers, Rick Adelman. And Rick, thanks for joining us. First of all, what about the rest? Is it good or bad for you guys?
Well, I think it's really good for us, Pat, because we had a hectic schedule for a month, and our guys needed a couple of days off, and we were able to do that for the last 2 days. And today we had a workout during the first half of that game, and now we're going home to watch the second half to see what's going to happen.
I was talking to Clyde Drexler the other night, and I said, in the 9 years I've been covering basketball, nobody's ever answered this question. He didn't, so I'll ask you anyway. Who would you rather play, Chicago or Detroit?
Well, when you look at the two teams, there's really not much to choose from. You got the world champions who are very good at home, and then you got to play Michael Jordan, who can win a game by himself. Obviously, we'd rather have 4 games at home than 4 on the road, so I guess in that regard, you'd say Chicago, but the two teams are so similar, I don't think it matters to us. We're just glad to get through the Western Conference, and now we're getting ready for that.
Let me travel through the mists of time, by the way, and take you back to 1970. You were the captain of the very first Portland Trail Blazer team, and we're rolling up some video of there, a younger Rick Adelman. And what about that team? Did you ever have a dream that you'd be leading the team into the finals someday?
I didn't in 1970. I knew we weren't going to make it to the finals with that team, but I really did. This has really been a dream season. These players have worked so hard all year long, and we thought we had a chance to be good, but you got to give the players credit. They really worked hard to come together with 6 new players to get to the championship this year. has really been a great feat for us.
Well, well-deserved entry into the finals, Rick. We all can't wait to get up there in Portland and see all the great fans there and see you. And we'll see you Tuesday night somewhere. I see you got the X's and O's and you're ready to go. Thanks, Rick, for joining us on At the Half.
Okay, Pat, thank you.
When we come back here, we'll turn to our financial section and take a look at one of this country's most famous conglomerates. That and more as At the Half rolls on a Sunday in the Midwest after a commercial. And a word from your local station. Stay with us. They call it the Palace at Auburn Hills, and there's nothing more they'd like here than to make the Detroit Pistons the kings of the Eastern Conference. They have to get by Chicago today, and they lead at the half. Well, when we're finished with basketball here, we are offering golf in Potomac, Maryland. It's the final round of the Kemper Open, and for an update, here's Pat Summerall with a report.
We're at the TPC at Avenel in Potomac, Maryland, just north of Washington, D.C. Temperature 83 degrees, but the wind is the factor right now. South-southwest, 15 to 25 miles an hour. Yesterday's leaderboard, a lot of low rounds. Steve Jones, 11 under, 65 he shot yesterday. Joel Edwards tied the course record with a 64. Clark Burrows had 66. Here is how Steve Jones got to 11 under for birdie at 18. He also had a hole-in-one at 9. Steve Jones, the leader. The leaders have just teed off. And we send you now back to Pat O'Brien in Auburn Hills.
And that's golf after basketball. Well, as we speak, Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev is on his way to Minneapolis today as part of the summit to learn about American business. Well, Mr. President, I want to tell you here that nobody personifies the American capitalistic system better than a young man by the name of Mikhail Jordan. We have to tell you, this is one of those only in America things, as Bill Raftery explains.
The Material Girl is currently on tour with the hottest show in the country that will fill her coffers with millions. The Ninja Turtles have come out from under, and ticket buyers are shelling out the green. Meantime, all ages are enchanted by the country's most profitable air show.
Yo, Mars Blackman here, my main man, Michael Jordan.
You better eat your Wheaties.
If you wanted to create a star, a personality for the 90s that combined great skill, great performance, tremendous charisma, an all-American sensibility, good-looking, articulate, you'd create Michael Jordan.
I'm in a great opportunity to pick and choose the interests that I want to go into after basketball, and I'm very fortunate to be in a position that I'm in, and I'm just trying to utilize all the opportunities.
Michael endorses everything from cars, shoes, to hamburgers, and now has his designs on air suits.
Dressing for success is one part of the Jordan business plan, but when you feel and look this good, they pay attention to you when you walk into corporate America.
For Michael, there aren't any bears in this bull's market. Since Jordan's relationship with these companies, he has raised their level of play. This association is strictly blue chip.
This guy has a real good eye for picking upcoming companies, or he is the engine that attracts a lot more investor attention to these companies.
While a contributor in the Fortune 500 arena, Jordan's the CEO of his family-run business in North Carolina, where you can buy Pear Air Finalia. But are expansion franchises available?
Yeah, the Flight 23 stores has caught on. It has become more evident here in the last, I'd say, last month, because we get calls from all over the world, people wanting to open them up.
Oh, I wanna be rich. Oh, I wanna be rich. At $5 million a year, he is sixth in endorsement money, but number one among team sport athletes. But what is his net worth?
I would hazard a guess that it's probably, approximately $40 or $50 million.
With this dollar figure, will a new skyscraper rise in Chicago, or will he use his fortune to take over a team?
I don't think I make that much money to go out on a team, but seeing some of the frustrations that owners and GMs go through, I don't know if I'm ready for that. I'm more or less ready for the golf course once I retire.
Michael will really tell you that all of this is a means to an end, and an end in his mind is his Jump Foundation, which feeds a half a dozen charities. He told me his way of really reaching out and touching people. Time now to get back to the business at hand, the second half of Game 7. Vern and Lynn are ready to strap themselves back in. I'm Pat O'Brien. Thank you for joining us on the Prudential at the Half. Enjoy the second half here on CBS.
The Prudential at the Half has been sponsored by the companies of the Prudential. Come to the Prudential and build your future on the rock. CBS Sports coverage of the National Basketball Association Eastern Conference Finals is sponsored by First Brands Corporation, maker of STP oil treatment and son of a gun protectant. Nike, who remind you to just do it. And by Jeep and Eagle, official vehicles of the NBA.
Detroit Pistons hit 14 of 17 shots in the second quarter, 82%. They take a 15-point halftime lead. Right now, let's check in with Leslie Visser at the Chicago locker room.
Vern, Scottie Pippen spent some of the first half of the game with an ice bag on the back of his neck. The reason for this was that yesterday he was suffering from migraine headaches. Today, with all the excitement and the adrenaline early on in the game, it was causing his vision to blur. Now, trainer Mark Feil said they're going to keep the ice bag on it. His vision got steadily better during the game, and they think he'll be okay. Vern?
And he will start, but he's been held to 2 points, 1 of 4 thus far in the ball game. Michael Jordan, 4 of 12. As hot as the Pistons were in quarter number 2, Chicago, their 33 first half points, lowest of any team in the playoffs this year. And they were fighting formidable odds playing on the road in this Game 7, coming in because the last 10 games that have gone to a Game 7 in the NBA playoffs have been won by the home team, but opens up the second half.
Well, certainly that's a good start, Vern. They have to start getting better execution offensively and eliminate the poor outside shooting.
Here's Michael Jordan after Isaiah Thomas misses with the jumper. It's Pippen, Hodges, that's the 3. And those that were falling the other night are bouncing off the front of the rim this afternoon.
Well, still, that's too quick a shot. They have to slow the pace and try to explore their inside game. That'll open it up for the outside shot.
Lambeer and Edwards. And here is James Edwards traveling. Michael Jordan averaging 32 points in this series. In the first half thus far, 12 points per game. But he's picked it up in the second half with 20. He had 18 in the third quarter of the game in Chicago, won by the Bulls on Friday night. They'll need those 18 plus if they're going to get back in this one. Horace Grant, no. Rebound, Lambeer.
Well, the intent was what I mentioned, that they have to start exploring inside, moving the ball, and try to see if their big people can get position, but they have to connect with the shot.
There's the patented pick and spot up with Lambeer and Isaiah Thomas, and Jordan draws a foul.
Well, you see defensively the Bulls are trying to get after it. Dumars gets the ball and Jordan comes flying out after him. That's the intensity they require defensively if they're going to get back in it. It's much of the same what Detroit did in the second quarter. They shot 82%, 14 of 17 in the second quarter. Most of those layups off the turnovers and missed shots by Chicago.
Thomas to Rodman. And it's back to a 15-point margin. Jordan kicks it out to Hodges. Taken away by Isaiah Thomas.
Frankly, Vern, with Paxson out of the game, his absence really looms large. Hodges not able to hit the shot. That's his role. Paxson would have some better...
Basket underneath off the pass from Thomas.
He'd have some better luck, I believe, in handling the ball, freeing Michael Jordan up to use the whole floor rather than having to bring the ball up court and start the offense.
Just to complete that thought on home court advantage, the last team to win a Game 7 on the road, the 76ers in 1982. Here's Hodges, who is now 1 of 8. 1 of 8 from three-point range. He was 4 of 4 the other night. Well, he's a streak shooter, as Phil Jackson said, but he's in a bad streak right now. Isaiah Thomas. Timeout, Chicago. Chuck Daly likes what he's seen in the first part of the second half.
Recently, Four Wheel and Off-Road magazine tested the latest imports and...
Certainly it's been the precise execution of the Pistons that's gotten them this lead. Watch Isaiah Thomas set Craig Hodges up. Take him one way, go the other on the pick. Poor defensive intensity there by Craig Hodges, who once he was picked off, had to take the roll man on the switch.
And if the Pistons hang on to win this game, they will open the NBA playoffs at home against Portland at 9 o'clock Eastern time. If Chicago makes a marvelous comeback and wins the game, then the series would open in Portland on Tuesday night. The Trailblazers are ready. They have scheduled a departure in their private plane 2 hours after the conclusion of this game if Detroit wins. They'll be in here tonight around 1 o'clock Eastern time. The Trailblazers and the Pistons, two of the NBA teams that do fly chartered aircraft. Here's Michael Jordan from the baseline.
And when we talked about getting Michael Jordan at different parts of the floor to utilize his attack from those areas, you need someone who's going to be able to start the play. Craig Hodges' job is to do that.
Isaiah Thomas back to Lambeer. Right now, let's check in with Pat O'Brien. Pat?
Vernon, the last time out the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan had his own team meeting on the floor. The coaches had their own meeting, two separate meetings. Jordan saying, hey, we are not out of this thing yet. I've never seen him so animated in a huddle. Back to you guys.
All right, Pat, he may have memories of the Detroit comeback back in Chicago when they were down by 19 and cut it to 3 on Memorial Day weekend. Now, they wound up losing that game, but they got right back in it. Here's Isaiah Thomas.
And if they're going to get back in it, it's on the defensive side of the floor. But the Pistons have the feeling right now they've generated an outside game.
Shot too strong off the glass. Another Piston rebound. It's Hodges, Cartwright, Grant, Pippen, and Jordan for Chicago. Isaiah Thomas for 3. Pippen chases down the long rebound. Jordan goes by Dumars and Rodman. Dennis Rodman got him with a knee in the thigh.
Well, it's certainly the first time in many possessions down floor on the offensive end that the Chicago Bulls have gotten a hand on an offensive rebound. The Pistons have virtually eliminated the offensive rebounding opportunities. It's going to take that, plus it's going to take, again, execution offensively. Getting Jordan open, but having other people involved as well. Terrible pass by Horace Grant.
Horace Grant throws it right into the hands of Lambeer. And then does chase down the long rebound after Isaiah Thomas misses the three-pointer. Jordan goes by Dumars. Over Edwards, 2 more. Michael now 8 of 16. And he's got 18 points. But the lead is 20. It was a 23-6 run early in the second quarter to the end of the half that gave the Pistons this cushion. Isaiah Thomas. Buzzer went off, but the shot was released before the 24-second clock. Pippen is 1 of 5 from the field. 1 of 6. Grant is 2 of 11. 2 of 12. And the putback is good. The shots just will not fall for Chicago.
They're not giving up. You see them again scraping the boards. That time, better floor balance. 2-3 guys on the offensive boards. They need that. Otherwise, the Pistons come off with the after the quick shot with the rebound, and they're off to the races again in transition. But when you send 3, 4, 5 guys to the board, you're leaving yourself wide open for a layup.
Horace Grant shoots 2. 5:03 to go, third quarter, 61-43 now. Rodman finds Lambier, goes at Cartwright, and Bill Cartwright will draw the foul, and that'll send Bill Lambier to the line for a rare time.
Well, the Pistons did a great job of recognizing the full court pressure. They've had trouble with it in the past during this series, but now they're getting the ball within one pass to someone, a great ball handler in the middle, who can now get past that first wave of defenders and find those 3-on-1, 3-on-2 situations.
Lambier's 12th free throw in the 7th game. There's John Paxson, who re-injured his right ankle while coming down hard in the third quarter of game number 6, and talked with him last night and again today. Just not much chance he could really go. He said he had a little mobility today. Lambier, who's broken out of a slump. You saw that graphic on Bill Lambier's shooting percentage in Chicago, 26%. That includes the other night when he broke out of a slump because he had been 1 of 13. Jordan. Nice soft bounce.
Well, the Piston pressure did what it wanted to, throw the Bulls out of their rhythm.
Edwards misses at the other end.
But he gets the rebound, and that's what's killing the Bulls right now.
5:40 to go, third quarter. A 15-point Detroit lead at the half. Isaiah Thomas helped ignite that lead. And here's Michael Jordan with 20 points now. He's almost at the point where he's got to take it upon himself, doesn't he?
Well, he does, but what he is doing right now is recognizing when he's doubled and tripled, and he still has enough confidence in his teammates to hit them. Bill Cartwright with a nice job, like on the baseline.
In this period, Chicago 6 of 13. Chuck Daly senses a little bit of a trend he doesn't like. So he calls timeout with 5:12 to go. Detroit still up 63-47. 5 minutes and 12 seconds remaining in the third quarter. The defending world champs on top by 16. Right now, let's check in with Leslie Visser.
Thanks, Vern. I'm here with a guy who's played in a few legendary 7th games. Magic Johnson, what is unique about a 7th game?
I'm sorry, I never heard you.
What's special about a 7th game?
Well, what's special is the fact that the star players usually rise to the occasion. It's a big, big game. And as you can see with some of the Bulls players right now, they really don't want to handle the pressure of a 7th game. They really are. And Detroit's really playing well. But I think the key is Isaiah's really got them going, got them sparked. And the bench, Mark Aguirre and John Sally, really played well for them.
We heard you're taking Isaiah to dinner for congratulations. Is that true?
Oh, yeah. If he come out with this victory, I definitely will. You know, it's just he's a great competitor, and he sparked the Pistons to their lead right now.
Great. Thank you, Magic. Back to you, Vern.
All right, Magic, I think back to what Pat O'Brien said at the beginning of the telecast, Lenny, when he talked to Isaiah this morning. He said, they've got the hunger, they meaning Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, but we've got the wisdom. We've been here before.
Well, certainly that makes the difference. But you don't want to put all the pressure, if you're one of the Bulls, on your teammate Michael Jordan. You've got to share some of that. And when you have a superstar who can carry you, he'll do it in spurts, but you have to win as a team.
22-point lead has been cut down to 14 now, 63-49. And a foul called underneath the basket. John Sally's getting ready to come back in. James Edwards will get a rest. Foul was on Michael Jordan. That's his second non-shooting foul. Isaiah Thomas, Dennis Rodman, Lambier. They'll do an isolation play now. Rodman, little pick and roll. There's the roll. They settle for Lambier spotting up and then find Dumars in the corner. It worked perfectly except for the shot that did not go in. 63-49, a chance to get now within 12. Here's Jordan. He finds Horace Grant underneath, and Grant can't buy a bucket.
Well, that's when you have to stick your nose in there and draw the foul. Grant decided to fade away. Got a little cute with it. This is the 7th game. You got to lay everything out there.
Goes back to what perhaps Magic Johnson was just talking about. Horace Grant now 2 of 12 from the field. Rodman pick and roll again. This time Hodges stays with Rodman and the switch. Isaiah Thomas, no. Jordan with the rebound. 3:50 to go, third quarter. Hodges for three. Oh boy, big basket for the Bulls. That's his second of the ball game from three-point range.
Well, the Bulls with pressure right now, but they've started to do what they need to. They've slowed the pace. They've executed. You don't need an awful lot of execution. A pick here, a pick there to change the defense. Make them move a bit, and you'll find an opening.
Just sense the Bulls working on defense a little harder. Offensive foul called. And now the Chicago team, which trailed 61-39 and is on a 13-2 run, can get it to a single-digit margin. Pippen penetrates, kicks out to Hodges. 3 points. No, sir. Rodman with a rebound. Now Chuck Daly sensed it a moment ago. The crowd's getting restless now. Dumars, Isaiah Thomas. Lambier is fouled by Craig Hodges. That's his third. Rodman will inbound. 15-point halftime margin. The winner gets Portland. The NBA Finals begin Tuesday night on CBS at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Trailblazers with a wonderful season. They tied Detroit for the second-best regular season record in the league. Dumars, look at the defensive job Jordan's doing. Look at him go to the baseline, but there is a foul.
Certainly spreading the floor and then penetrating has allowed the Piston guards to find a lot of cutters going to the basket. That's what they want to do now. Knowing the Bulls have to extend their defense and put some pressure on them, the Pistons are trying to use that aggressiveness against the Bulls.
Foul was called on Horace Grant, not on Michael Jordan. Sally gets the roll. Coming up next, final round of the Kemper Open from Washington, D.C. Steve Jones had the lead going into the final round. That's coming up next at the conclusion of our game. Steve Jones now at 12 under par, having started the day at -11. And lane violation. Even though Sally missed it, he gets another chance.
That's got to break your heart if you're the coach, and we saw Phil Jackson without a happy look on his face.
Again. 64-52.
Chuck Daly's time to have a broken heart.
Michael Jordan, 20 points in the ball game. Scottie Pippen. 9 on the shot clock. Dennis Rodman shadows Pippen on the baseline. The ball almost stolen. Hodges is going to have to throw this one up. He does. That almost went in. Cartwright with the follow. John Sally. Here's Thomas at the other end. Blocked by Hodges. Foul on Hodges.
Well, when the Bulls look back on this game, and in the event that they lose, there are certain points of it that they can certainly say that they gave the effort. Craig Hodges had saved that ball and allowed Bill Cartwright with that opportunity. And then he hustled back and makes a pretty good play. He gets a piece of Isaiah Thomas's arm. But you need those kinds of plays, and you hope that that kind of effort instills a desire in your teammates to present that same kind of effort.
Stacey King replaces Craig Hodges, who has to sit down now with his 4th foul of the ball game. Isaiah Thomas, 1 of 2. The lead is back to 13. It was at 22 early in this half. The lead was 15. Detroit at halftime. Michael Jordan, Joe Dumars, stripped by Dumars and Sally, and a foul call.
You can almost understand the crowd. You certainly can't play defense any better than Joe Dumars played at that particular point.
100th consecutive sellout crowd. They've only played 100 games in the Palace at Auburn Hills, where the defending world champions are playing their first 7th game of the series in the NBA playoffs at home. Michael Jordan gets the first free throw. And the Pistons are up 65-53 right now. Winner gets Portland in the NBA Finals. Vern Lundquist, Glenn Elmore, Leslie Visser, and Pat O'Brien here. Sally will inbound. Here's the trap.
Well, the last play that put Michael Jordan on the line, you talk about excellent defense. That looked like a pretty good play there by Joe Dumars.
Sure did.
Certainly shadowed Michael Jordan, didn't allow him to turn the corner.
That was Dumars' first foul of the game, by the way. 1:38 remaining. B.J. Armstrong on now, late getting the last player who hits the shot, and they had the mismatch down on the baseline.
And what the Pistons are doing is they're exploring and then backing out once the Bulls start rotating defensively and finding the mismatches.
Inside, Stacey King will shoot a couple after the pass from Michael Jordan. John Sally with the foul. King's playing minutes have diminished as this series has gone from 4 to 5 to 6 and now to 7 games.
Well, Michael Jordan at the top is able to survey the court completely. And he's almost as valuable passing as he is scoring. Those are the types of things that the great point guards like Magic Johnson, Kevin Johnson, John Stockton, they see those things. Michael Jordan has the ability to see that from any part of the floor as well.
Jordan thinks about a three, but Vinnie Johnson comes out. Johnson on the court now for Detroit. Underneath, there's the thing he sees right there. Perfect example.
Well, working at the top, again, makes the teams defensively, like the Pistons, focus on Michael Jordan, but they don't have help side. So there are little holes, little seams in the type of defense that they play.
Again, the Bulls go to the trapping defense. Back to Vinnie Johnson. 0 for 10 the other night. Doesn't get that shot to fall. He's struggling right now. Loose ball. Kicked way down at the other end.
You got to get down on the floor for those balls. You're going to get a backache bending over. This is the 7th game of a series. Again, Michael Jordan from another angle on the penetration and the dish, and you see how much attention he draws when he's out at the top of the floor. There's no help side to stand and cover two guys.
Final 41 seconds, quarter number 3. The Pistons were up by 22 at 61-39. The Bulls have cut that margin to 10. Edwards dunks the ball. Jordan to King. And again, Stacey King will shoot free throws. Edwards can't believe it.
Pistons certainly have to be disappointed. Again, they play great defense on Michael Jordan. He gets up in the air, Jordan does, and really doesn't have any place to go with it. He finally finds a man, but what happens is on good defensive positioning, James Edwards is called for a foul because of the contact.
Two coaches eye each other and eye the court. Mark McGuire had a big first half. Hitting 5 of 6. Ed Neely's going to come back on the court now for Phil Jackson's team. And Michael Jordan will sit down and rest the final 26 seconds of quarter number 3. Jordan getting the rest for the second time in the ballgame now with 22 points on 9 of 17 and 6 rebounds. This quarter he is 6 of 6. Jordan's second rest of the game. He sat out the final 156 at quarter number 1. 10-point margin, 59-69. Detroit on top. They led by 15 at the half, using a 23-6 explosion in the second quarter. Here's Edwards, trapped by Neely. Double team, leaves Sally open. Rodman for the rebound, but it's on the floor, and the quarter ends.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the third quarter.
Well, the Bulls cut 5 from the margin. That's the end of the third period with our score. Detroit 69, Chicago 59. We'll return to the Palace after this message and a word from your local station. The Palace at Auburn Hills. Home court of the Detroit Pistons, where 21,000 watch Isaiah Thomas and applaud.
But we've spoken enough about Jordan's ability to see the floor. This man is not to be left out. Amazing with the type of pressure B.J. Armstrong places on him. He's still able to look up court and find the open man running at about full speed. That's something for a lot of young people to keep an eye on. Isaiah Thomas is continually looking up court, even though he's handling the ball.
19 points by Isaiah Thomas. Here's Aguirre, who's come in the fourth quarter, and Mark Aguirre now has 12 points off the bench. Gets the feed from Vinnie Johnson, who's also on the floor.
Well, the Pistons have seen that pressure enough during this series to be able to break it in that fashion.
Sally, Aguirre, Rodman, Thomas, and Johnson. So the 6, 7, and 8 men are on the court now for the Detroit Pistons. One of the better benches in the league. 16 fast break points now for Detroit. Michael Jordan is back in. He rested a total of 26 seconds. There's a steal by Scottie Pippen. Not that many turnovers in the ball game. Michael Jordan, no. Rodman gets the rebound. Aguirre. King and Aguirre. Jordan on Johnson. He finds Dennis Rodman.
Total lack of communication by the Bulls inside. Two men running at the ball handler, leaving Rodman alone underneath. Got to minimize those mistakes. And on the other end, capitalize on the layups, which the Bulls have missed.
This is what Chuck Daly wanted. The first 4 points of the quarter belonged to Detroit. And now Jordan posts up and gets 2 more. He's got 24.
Vern, with 10 minutes and about 15 seconds left, a 12-point lead isn't insurmountable, particularly for the Bulls. They're almost where they'd like to be within shooting distance. The only problem is they still haven't developed that ability on offense to get the ball where they want.
Thomas does a great job with the pump fake, and B.J. Armstrong. That's his third. So Isaiah Thomas goes to the line. I was mentioning a while ago now, Aguirre and Thomas both on the court. The number 1 and 2 draft choices 9 years ago. It was thought by many that Dallas, who had the first pick that year, was going to take this man. They flew him into Dallas, had 15 or 16 mini cams, it seemed like. Everybody was going live at 5, and there was a great to-do. And then all of a sudden, after Isaiah had gone back home, Mark Aguirre came in, had a private chat with the owner, Don Carter. Aguirre, of course, had a troubled reputation as a bit of a difficult man, and Carter was convinced he could turn the franchise around. So Carter and the Mavericks drafted Aguirre. Detroit got Thomas, and now look, they're reunited.
And the Bulls wanted to get the ball to Jordan on the post. He was forced to come outside and get it.
Kicked out, and time has been called. 9:43 remaining in the ball game. The winner takes on Portland. Coming up tonight on CBS, first is the Sunday Evening News with Connie Chung, followed by 3 stories and Andy Rooney on 60 Minutes. Then Murder, She Wrote, starring Angela Lansbury, and a CBS special, the 44th Annual Tony Awards. That's all tonight on CBS. Well, we have 9:43 remaining in the ball game. In that second period, when Detroit broke it open, they hit 14 of 17 field goals. Isaiah Thomas has led Detroit thus far. Jordan with 24. Detroit with 16 fast break points. Lenny Elmore, it seems to epitomize what happened to Chicago and Detroit, respectively, in that second quarter.
Well, what certainly has occurred here is that Detroit has tightened up defensively. They're really not allowing the Bulls to get the ball where they want. Michael Jordan on the last possession wanted to post up, but he was forced to go out 18 feet and then put it on the floor. The Bulls have to stop giving away opportunities. They've missed layups. They've missed assignments defensively. And on defense, they're going to have to force someone from the Pistons other than Isaiah Thomas to beat them from outside. It's that risk factor that they're going to have to start taking because their season's dwindling down.
Jordan Now has Vinnie Johnson guarding him. B.J. Armstrong. Nope. Loose ball, John Sally. Isaiah Thomas looks for Aguirre. Aguirre 6 of 7. Works on Horace Grant. Fade away. Nope. But look at here. Rodman clears it out for the Pistons.
Well, the Rodman-Pippen matchup, Scottie Pippen is really no match for Dennis Rodman underneath, not accustomed to being under there for such long periods of time. Rodman gets great position. That's what I mean by giving away opportunities. They can't afford to give up second and third shots to this Piston team at this time.
Rodman with a screen on Jordan, and Thomas takes the shot, which will be Chicago's. This is a Detroit team that lost handily to Chicago on Friday night. That had even more problems. We said they fly a private plane. There's B.J. Armstrong at the other end. Nope. Mark Aguirre for Detroit. When they went to the airport to get on their private plane to come home, a fuel truck backed into the nose of it. $25,000 damage. They didn't get home till 2:30 in the morning. Here's Johnson. He's all right. The plane's all right. If they win, they'll use it in the NBA Finals.
You got to wonder if the driver of that truck took his Bulls hat off before they realized what was going on.
Bill Jackson's team led by 2 at the end of 1. Low-scoring game, 19-17 then. But a 23-6 explosion ignited in part by that man, Mark Aguirre, who had 10. Gave Detroit a 15-point halftime lead. Pippen. Chicago now hitting 22 of 72, 31% for the game, as befitting the defensive effort by perhaps the best defensive team in the league. There's a ball stripped at the other end. 7:48 remaining. Craig Hodges playing with 4 fouls, comes in for B.J. Armstrong, and Ed Neely is going to check in and give Stacey King a rest.
6 seconds on the shot clock.
Sally, 2 seconds on the shot clock. Offensive foul is called on John Sally. That's his second.
Well, the Pistons are certainly leaving openings right now.
Another great pass from Jordan to Neely. And foul before the shot, I think. Yep, before the shot. 100th consecutive sellout in this gorgeous basketball facility in Auburn Hills, Michigan, some 30 miles north of downtown Detroit, where the Pistons playing their first game number 7 at home. Michael Jordan count the basket, and he will shoot a free throw.
Well, I mentioned before, the Pistons haven't slammed the door completely. Their turnovers on the other end are adding opportunities for the Bulls. Here, Michael Jordan takes advantage of it. Again, getting pushed off the block where he'd rather be. But this time, he takes the whole interior defense of the Pistons to the basket. Another look, the same thing. It's more quickness than anything else. But those are the things that they have to do. Take the ball into the paint. They can't rely on the perimeter shots anymore.
77-64 to lead 13. Bulls chipped 5 from that margin in the third quarter play. They fell behind by as many as 22, 61-39. And trailed at the end of 3, 69-59. Rodman. Limping as he heads back down the court. Grant. Horace Grant gets his 3rd basket from the field in the ball game. And it's an 11-point margin with 6:50 to go. Johnson, Sally, Rodman, who's limping, Dumars, and Chuck Daly wants to talk about it. 6:46 to go in Game 7, the Eastern Conference Finals from Auburn Hills. Pistons up by 11.
At the TPC at Avenel in Potomac, Maryland, Steve Jones continues to lead. He has moved to 12 under par now. Scott Hoke has got it to 9. to tie Gil Morgan for second, and then Baker Finch and Clark Burrows at 8. Now back to basketball.
All right, Pat Summerall, Detroit leading 77-66 over Chicago. The Pistons acknowledged as the best defensive team. Look at what they have done against Michael Jordan the last 3 years. In '88 in the first round of the playoffs against Cleveland, Jordan averaged 45. In the second round, dropped to 27 as the Pistons put the Bulls out. In '89, 40 in the first round against Cleveland, 36 he averaged against New York. And then in the Eastern Conference Finals, the average dropped to 30. And this year, Michael Jordan averaged 37 in the first round against Milwaukee, 36 against Philadelphia in round number 2. And in this series, his average has dropped to 32 points per game. So there are reasons why they are acknowledged as the best. The Jordan Report, he has been fouled 6 times today. They have made contact with him 26. He's been picked 5 times. Knocked down 3, has had to change directions 8, and we'll see if he can go 12 rounds.
Well, certainly that's taken a lot out of him, but I guarantee you that his teammates are going to jump on his back. He'll see the ball down court every single time when they're on offense, unless there's an easy layup.
77-66, Vinnie Johnson, Mark McGuire. Here's Johnson spinning. Dumars. Joe Dumars has had a very quiet offensive game today.
And that's where Michael Jordan's fatigue may show. Joe Dumars now going to the offensive boards. That's one place where Michael Jordan would like to rest a little bit.
Pippen and Aguirre battling for position. Aguirre gets it. Grant comes with a double team. The kick pass to Rodman off the glass and good.
Pistons doing a nice job of working their offense. They're executing the way they have to down the stretch to keep this lead.
Jordan fakes left, goes right to the baseline, misses the shot. Hodges saves it. Pippen spots up for 3, passes on the shot, and comes inside. Grant with the putback. Another offensive rebound. Neely back to Jordan with the first 24.
You're looking at a team right now fighting for their lives, and they're scratching and clawing.
Michael Jordan with 27. He's hitting 50%, 11 of 22. They just, the Bulls, that is, have not been able to get the margin of difference into single digits. Johnson, near air ball. Rodman pleading the case that the ball was off Neely, and he pleaded well. Well, how about the argumentative powers of Dennis Rodman?
Actually, knowing the official to whom he was making the argument, he just made a mistake and pointed in the wrong direction, because those are arguments that you don't win with Earl Strom.
Rodman playing with that bad left ankle. 5:13 to go in the ballgame. Thomas, Lambier. And he'll shoot another.
Those two guys that just come into the ball game playing a little 2-man basketball with the clear out to Isaiah Thomas. The Bulls defense, Scottie Pippen, has to come over to cut off the drive. And once he comes over, his man follows him right underneath the basket. Anytime there's a double team, that's where you go. And if you have a guy like Isaiah Thomas, he's going to find you.
To go. Lead back to 14. Dumars and Jordan. More magic from Michael. And the lead is 12.
Phil Jackson's calling his team up, asking him to pressure.
Isaiah Thomas with 7 assists to go with 7 rebounds and 21 points. Has the ball now. Jordan out on him. Thomas drives left and Jordan strips the ball. But Sally gets it back and puts it in.
Again, it's the dirty work. No one getting on the floor for the loose ball. Detroit wants it more at this point.
Neely. Pippen passes inside. Lambier knocks it away. 4:10 to go. That has them on their feet everywhere except the Bulls bench. Aguirre, Lambier. Dennis Rodman working on that ankle behind the Piston bench. Phil Jackson completing his first year as the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. His team trails 3:52 to go in the ball game, and the lead is 14. Portland Trail Blazers sitting at home on the West Coast, awaiting an opponent for Game 1 of the NBA Finals, which began Tuesday night on CBS at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. If it's Detroit and the Pistons are up by 14, the Trail Blazers will board their private plane 2 hours after the game and come back to the Midwest. Right now, let's go to Leslie Visser.
Vern, Chuck Daly just spoke to his team in threes. I guess he wants that third straight tip to the NBA Finals. He told his team to pressure the ball, attack the basket, and work harder on defense. He knows, of course, that Michael Jordan is still open for business. Vern?
The Pistons have never won a Game 7, but this is the first time they've had one at home. They lost 2 years ago on the road and 3 years ago on the road. Many of you might recall that thunderous collision of heads between Adrian Dantley and Vinnie Johnson that cost them one potential series. Here's Lambier. Lead is 15, just as it was at halftime. The lead at 16. Armstrong, Grant, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Craig Hodges for the Bulls. Chuck Daly counters with Mark Aguirre, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Lambier, and John Sally. Isolation play for Jordan. And Isaiah Thomas ties him up.
Defensively, the Pistons are now pointing totally at Michael Jordan. They don't believe that any of the other 4 Bulls can hurt them at this point with this much time left. So anytime he turns his back or is away from the ball, you're going to find another Piston in his face. We take a look now on a clear out. Michael Jordan appears to have Joe Dumars beat. But Isaiah Thomas totally leaves B.J. Armstrong, recognizing that Michael Jordan may try to do it on his own. And they play right into the Pistons' hands.
Ball was tipped out of bounds after the jump ball. Back to Hodges. Spots up for the 3, and it rims out. Craig Hodges is 2 of 12 from three-point range, which equals what he had accomplished in the first 5 games of this series, 2 of 12. He was 4 for 4 in the Chicago win the other night. And it'll be Detroit to put it in bounds. If I have to pick one key play, and that's impossible in basketball, I go back to Isaiah Thomas in that first quarter of play. Detroit had just taken the lead, and he blocked a Michael Jordan jump shot. Rodman got the loose ball. Dumars on the fast break at the other end, and since they took that three-point edge, Detroit has, for the most part, been in control of this ball game.
And certainly plays like that, the ability to penetrate and find people, more so than scoring. Isaiah Thomas has been the leader of this team for so many years, and despite all the rumors to the contrary, this will go a long way in reestablishing his preeminence, not only in the league, but on his team, among his teammates.
Jordan traces it down and tries to find Scottie Pippen, who had left. Here's Isaiah.
The plays of the Bulls right now are plays of desperation. You know, they have already sensed it slipping away, and guys are trying to do more than they're capable of doing, and that includes Michael Jordan.
They're packing their bags in Portland. The lead is 20, and Mark Aguirre is back at the line. .91-70. I'll go back to what Phil Jackson said yesterday. We've got to get 95 at least to win. Anything below that, we got no chance. Aguirre with a rebound. Aguirre with 9 rebounds and 15 points off the bench. Big effort. Joining his high school friend from Chicago, Isaiah Thomas, on that assist, and Magic Johnson is here to appreciate all this. He's the third close friend in that bunch. Timeout, Bulls, with 2:03 to go.
Well, this is the maestro at work right here, talking about nonverbal communication. Watch Isaiah's eyes as he licks his lips in anticipation, telling John Sally it's time for you to take off in the backdoor situation. No words spoken. These guys recognize what it takes to win.
Over the course of the year, the two teams, Detroit and Portland, have met 2 times. They've split the season series. Check that next line. Detroit has lost 20 straight games at Portland, and that list goes all the way back to 1974. Both teams 59 and 23 this year. The tiebreaker is the fact the Pistons had a better conference record. Thus, Detroit gets the home court advantage, and they will open the finals here on Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. And don't forget the format for the NBA Finals now: 2 games in Detroit, then 3 in Portland, and back here for the final 2 if necessary. 2:03 to go. Charles Davis in. Horace Grant, Ed Neely, Michael Jordan. Not there from the corner.
Under 2 minutes to play.
That's the 3. Nope. Davis gets 2. At the conclusion of our game, Lenny Elmore and I will select the Miller Lite Player of the Game. In conjunction with the award, Light Beer presents a check in the amount of $1,000 in the player's name to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Well, more teams in the NBA may be going to private aircraft. The 2 teams in the finals both fly on charters. As a matter of fact, Steve Jones, a friend of ours who used to play for Portland and does their radio commentary and some television work, as Armstrong for 2 points, said that he thinks the acquisition of that private plane, Lenny, was one of the most important things in Portland's successful season.
Well, certainly, and speaking to people around the league, they attest to the fact that in games, back-to-back game situations, you can pick up 5 or 6 wins by being able to get to a town early enough to get your players rested.
All you got to do is keep fuel truck drivers from backing into the nose of your airplane. Final minute, Mark Aguirre. Travel. Earl Strom tagged him with a travel while he was looking back at Michael Jordan. Lambeer out. Thomas out.
Well, the Pistons have moved on, but you really got to feel for this man right here. I mean, playing his heart out, but he recognizes that his team, even though it's 1 game better, they took the Pistons to a 7th game this year, they still didn't bridge that gap. And that is putting them in the upper echelon of teams that wind up playing at the end of the season. You know, they've bounced back a lot during this series. Usually the Pistons have you down, they grab you by the throat. But this time, in this game, the Pistons didn't let go, and the Bulls just couldn't wriggle out of it.
With the shot clock down to 1, Mark Aguirre brings it back outside. Well, Phil Jackson said yes, this will be considered a successful season for the Bulls. They went 1 game farther. For the Pistons, nothing but another world championship will do. And they, the Detroit Pistons, will meet the Portland Trail Blazers in the best of 7 beginning Tuesday night on CBS. This stifling Detroit Piston defense holds the Chicago Bulls to 28 of 90, 31%. But Michael Jordan had 31, and he's with Pat O'Brien. Right?
Vern, Michael Jordan here in the midst of the celebration. What are you saying to the other players, Mike?
All you can do is wish them good luck. I mean, you know, we fought hard. You know, they were the better team. We went to a 7-game series. What more can we ask for? You know, we want to be where they are, but we still got to wait our turn. We're still trying to improve our team. They were the better team, and they played better today.
What's your emotion now, Michael? Sadness, frustration?
You know, sadly, I'm disappointed, you know, because I wanted to go further. But I got to accept the season that we played. We had a good season. We got this far. We got to look forward to next season. That's the only thing we can do.
Gave it a hell of a run.
Thank you.
Vern?
Indeed he did. 31 points to lead the Bulls. That's just one below his series average. And in the locker room, Mark Aguirre, Bill Lambier, and our Miller Lite player of the game, Isaiah Thomas, tonight with 21 points, 7 of 17. He had 7 rebounds, 8 assists. And on his behalf, Miller Lite will donate $1,000 to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Isaiah Thomas with his best game at home in this series. Well, go back to that second quarter when this game was really decided, Len, and tell us, just to recap what happened. What proved the difference in your mind?
Well, certainly the inability of the Bulls to hit the perimeter shots. And what the Detroit Pistons did is they found an alternative. They weren't able to hit the shots that were given them, but they intensified their defense activity. And what they did was double, triple Michael Jordan. That block by Isaiah proved to be very important. 82% field goal shooting in the second quarter, primarily because they took turnovers and converted them in their transition game. The Bulls never got anyone back. And once they got out 14, 15 points, the Bulls just didn't have the firepower, despite Michael Jordan. They didn't have the firepower to come back, nor the defensive ability to stop the Pistons on the other end.
And in contrast to what happened in Chicago on Friday night, this time the Detroit bench had a terrific, terrific afternoon. Right now, let's go to Leslie Visser, who's with Isaiah Thomas.
Isaiah, it has a familiar ring to it, Eastern Conference champion. Congratulations. What was the key?
I think the key was definitely our defense. We played hard. We played aggressive defense. We rebounded the ball extremely well, and we were able to get out into the transition game to get some fast breaks. You know, everybody just did a hell of a job, and it was very difficult. I got a lot of respect for what the Celtics and the Lakers have been doing the last 18 years.
You're a kid from the streets of Chicago. Was it any more meaningful to beat the Bulls?
Not really. I got kind of mixed feelings about it because I'm from Chicago and I've always grew up wanting them to do well. And then it has to be that I'm kind of like the thorn in their side. But, you know, they're a good basketball team, and one day they're going to be in the position that we're in, and hopefully they can win one in Chicago.
Well, thank you, Isaiah. Best luck against Portland. Back to you, Vern.
All right, Leslie, and just a quick footnote, the Detroit bench outscores Chicago in this game 33 points to 15, and they hold the Bulls to 31% shooting from the field. We'll be back right after this message.